You might have noticed something interesting about Aikido, something special about Aikido, is that we do a lot of techniques from static attacks. So the attacks which are not coming in with a movement, with an energy, but someone is just grabbing in a way, and then we start doing the technique. And while it might seem very impractical in real life, there are specific reasons why we are doing it, and in today's video we want to share with you some of these reasons. So let's keep watching. The first reason for having this static grabbing attacks in Aikido is the tradition of a martial art. Actually, Aikido, a lot of movements in Aikido are originating from sword fighting. So if you look at some basic movements, for example, I have a sword, I have a short sword, kind of wakizashi. If I want to attack, maybe the opponent wants to prevent me from drawing my sword. So this way she's holding me with a katate dori attack, the basic attack of Aikido, and I cannot draw my sword anymore, I have to do something about it. And this is actually where I start doing techniques, right? Ikkyo or any other technique. Similar, if we look at the gyakute dori, could be used in the same way, just from the opposite side, or even for the morote dori. It's the same thing. I want to draw my sword, I get a morote dori. And if you look at this specifically, it's actually the reason why most of the times when we work with morote dori in static attack, I will present my arm this way rather than the thumb up. Okay, there are some exceptions, there are some specific techniques where we do thumb up, but the basic variants of morote dori attack, it's thumb down. And the thumb down is based exactly on drawing the sword and having the elbow up and the thumb down in this position. So there is this tradition, and when I try to draw my sword and the uke is grabbing my wrist, it's a bit dynamic still, but it allows also to have the same kind of attacks like the morote dori or gyakute dori or katate dori, having it in static and starting to do the technique from a static position. There is also an advantage of starting the technique from a static position, is that we have time to prepare, especially if we are beginners, we just started to learn Aikido. It allows us to focus on the movement, like digest the movements as we are doing them, rather than being surprised by a dynamic attack and being late and not knowing what to do, like losing the flow of the technique. So if we look at, let's say, Yokomenuchi Shihonage. So as I receive this attack, I have to move directly with the attack, take over the hand, the wrist, and at least until this moment I need to continue the technique, right? So as soon as the attack starts, I'm obliged to go with it. I cannot have any doubts, any thoughts, how do I do it actually, and so on. The dynamic attack requires already a certain level of knowledge of the technique, let's say, some basic knowledge of the technique, but at least you need to know it already to do it. Now, if we start from a very static attack, like the katate dori, I have time and possibility to digest every position and every movement. Okay, so first thing is I grab here, I change my position, and I connect into the shoulder and even into the other shoulder. And I have the time here at this moment to check really if I'm getting the uke in the right position. If I don't get it, and the uke can hit me with the other arm, maybe. If I get it right, there is too much distance and it's not possible anymore. Okay, so I can focus on this kind of details. When as I turn around, again, I'm static, I'm standing here, checking, okay, I've turned, it went well. So starting from a static attack allows me to cut the technique in smaller pieces more easily than a dynamic attack and do it little by little, focusing on every element of the technique. While when I do a dynamic one, as I start, here I don't really have the time to check the shoulder. I need to continue, at least until here. So in the technique, when I take over the wrist for the Shihonage, I don't really have time to check for the control of the shoulders as I can do in the static one. So this is really helping to learn the technique, especially for the beginners. So the third reason, and the last one we want to mention today in this video, actually, is having the possibility, the capability of sensing what is happening with the uke actually while we do the technique. So because everything is happening more slowly, I can not only focus on my movement to be precise, to grab the shoulders and so on, but I can also kind of move a little bit and feel how am I influencing the system of the uke, how we are working together, moving together. And even in the very simple movement of kata todori tai no henko, there's a very static one. It's not really a technique, it's a movement. But this movement is the basic exercise to understand what is behind the techniques of Aikido, to understand the Aikido principles, okay? So I'm connected. I'm feeling what the uke is doing, if the uke is trying to get back at me or not. I'm connecting into the center, into the feet of the uke. And we are, all the time, there is something happening between us. It's not visible, it's not visible on the physical level, but all the time we are feeling the other one, what is happening, what we are doing, how we are reacting. And this exploration is possible thanks to the fact of doing the static attacks, slow movement techniques, where we are not under pressure to do something quickly. And very often also when you do things quickly, it covers up for some errors. So if the uke knows which technique you are doing, and I make some small error, but in a very fast dynamic flow, the error might go unnoticed. If I do the technique slowly, I have to do everything correctly as it should be, because at a certain moment I will get stuck. Whenever I make an error, I will get stuck probably. So hope you liked it, some insights into the Aikido world and into the way we practice. Thanks for watching and see you again.